Good evening. I'm making this one, sending it out, and trying to pass along a little more information. And, but I have to start by saying something that, I'm catching a lot of flack, a lot of ridicule on Facebook, on Instagram, from not only my friends on my friends list, but also people I've never met before, obviously, don't know, seeing them on Instagram and entering into conversations based on some of the people that I'm following or some of the accounts that I'm following. But, it's like when you're trying to, just pass along information. I don't ask anybody to believe what I'm saying, lock, stock, and barrel. All I'm doing is I feel compelled to pass along information that I gather. I'm a contractor and I work alone a lot. And a lot of times I'll have my headphones on and I'll just type in YouTube search, things that I'm interested in and that I'm questioning, and then I'll listen to the video like it's an audio book. And so I've been doing that for about 4 years now. And a lot of times, you start to get into a certain topic or a subject, and there's vast amounts of information. I Google a lot of stuff, and I go to the library and I try to just research some of the things that I see for verification, for more information. I've got a family, I've got children. I want them to be able to have the opportunity to at least have a world where they have some type of, option other than what's dictated to them by, a handful of individuals. And so, when I get this information, I feel compelled to pass it along because I feel like, because of the information that I've gathered over the last few years, that we are at a crossroads. And so I'm just, trying to pass information along to folks. What they do with it, that's entirely up to them. That's why I don't really understand. I don't talk about, liking and subscribing and, all that kind of crap. I don't really care about that. All I'm trying to do is hopefully, somebody will stumble along some of my videos and it'll just make them think, hey, I wonder if he's onto something, and do the research for themselves. Because the way I've been telling folks is that I would rather be Chicken Little screaming the sky is falling and be wrong than to be Nostradamus and be thinking to myself, I was right and I didn't say anything. So, having said that, some of the new information that I've received is a post on Craigslist for crisis actors in West Palm Beach, Florida. And here where I'm at, we've been receiving, or they've been reporting that there's a possible Zika virus outbreak in Florida. And some of the crisis actors that they're calling for on Craigslist is a contractor that works with the government in what they're calling training exercises in preparedness for domestic or natural disaster, for terrorist attacks, or for biological warfare. And that's the part that caught me, was the biological warfare. So they want crisis actors for possible biological warfare exercises. And we've been hearing reports of Zika virus outbreaks. Now, a friend of mine lives in Florida, And I asked him about it, and he basically told me that they haven't had anything, and there's nothing like what they're reporting here where I'm at. So it just leads me to believe that could possibly be another variable in the process of declaring martial law. Because when we look at all of the different, aspects to this onion, or all the different layers to the onion, there are several different ways that Obama could declare martial law, or several different reasons he could have for doing so. It's natural disasters, it's crisis situations facing the country. So if we have a natural disaster, if we have a pandemic or an outbreak, if we have invasion, or if we have, I shouldn't say invasion, but if we have civil unrest, if there's, if the country is facing a state of emergency, Obama can declare martial law. And so now we think about all these variables, the Black Lives Matter movement and their purported plans to create race riots at the conventions. I heard today that there's going to be 100 of our state troopers in Cleveland to help with security. There was a report also that there's going to be 4,000 government personnel in Cleveland to help with security. Black Lives Matter is claiming to have 10,000 dissidents ready and willing to, quote, overwhelm the police. They won't know what hit them. They're going to publicly denounce Trump as a racist, and they're trying to push that agenda rather than wait for the general election campaigning. They want to push it now at the conventions to incite the anger. Then we've got, all the various things that are happening that are keeping our heads on swivels. And now, we have Turkey and the attempted coup, and the leader of Turkey pushing that to become an Islamic state. You've got Obama defending that president. The people rose up because they don't want to be an Islamic state. They want a democracy. And even though this president was democratically elected, he's been moving for the past year or so to a more authoritarian type of governance. And by that meaning, more of a dictator. And so now we've got Turkey. We've got what happened in Nice, France, which, that police are questioning 4 people related to this truck driver. The report I heard today was that he was radicalized very quickly. Then we've got the potential for the race riots in Cleveland. We've got the shootings in Dallas, which has heightened the police awareness and their tensions. Then we've got the things that are happening in the Middle East, which are affecting our economy. And so what I'm thinking is possible is, our American military, they're not going to be so quick to turn their weapons against the American citizen, because most of those people have taken an oath to defend the Constitution, and they believe that. And I know that because I'm former military myself. And so when you have our military and they decide that they're not going to turn their weapons against the American citizen, then how do you then position yourself to be able to control that? Well, one of the ways you do it is you deploy more troops overseas. So you thin out the people who would be ready to defend against such things. So now we're looking at these heightened the heightened situations overseas in Turkey and France. We've got the heightened tensions surrounding the conventions. And now, throw into the mix, we're talking about crisis actors in Florida, where they're already talking about a possible Zika outbreak. And bear in mind that, the government has the HAARP program, which is the High Altitude Auroral Research Program, which is based on patents by Nikola Tesla. So if you get a chance, do some research on Nikola Tesla, and you'll understand that they have the capabilities of shifting the ionosphere, affecting weather patterns, and also creating earthquakes. And for the last 5 years in the Concordia subdugation zone, which is off the coast of Washington, Oregon, and Northern California, as well as parts of Canada, they've been expecting a 9.0 earthquake in that area. A 9.0 earthquake along with tsunamis. So now that's another variable, another ingredient to throw into the mix. So now we're looking at, we're on the verge of, the Illuminati are on the verge of installing one of the highest ranking members of a criminal organization, and they're on the verge of installing her as our president, which, trust me, she's already been chosen. There's no vote, there's no choice. She has been chosen. She will be the next president if it goes that far. If Obama cannot fulfill the command of instituting martial law, then Hillary is going to be your next president, because they know that she will be willing to start World War III with the nukes against Iran. And so factor all these things in and come to your own conclusions. We've got a potential 9.0 earthquake with tsunamis in the Cascadia subdugation zone. We've got what appears to be a possible Zika outbreak in Florida. We've got the tensions running high at the conventions, and I was also informed of a deep web communications, which the deep web is encrypted communications between people through the internet. But there was a call for quote-unquote bloodbaths in 37 U.S. cities, and that was supposed to be Friday the 15th at 7 p.m. Now, of course, that didn't occur, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it won't occur. So now, factor all these things in together, do some research. But I mainly wanted to point out that, on Craigslist, they're calling for crisis actors in West Palm Beach, Florida. So it's another thing to keep an eye on as we progress in our daily lives. But I think this next week is going to be crucial to keep an eye on, because if the information is correct, that's going to be our indicators as to what we should expect in the near future. So, again, I'd rather be Chicken Little and be wrong than Nostradamus and be right. Good evening.